Hey, what's up guys? This is our second night in Itaewon. I just shot like an aesthetic vlog, and I'm gonna go ahead and continue on shooting the walking video. We'll head around and then shoot the nightlife area, although I don't know if they're gonna stay open. But the reason we're going to go to the pizza joint again is because we want to grab another pizza before it closes down. Anyways, what this vlog is going to be about is not more so the walking video, but I'm going to have to continue on with the main reasons of why I'm staying in Korea along with King here, because this is his second night here before he heads down to Daejeon. Yeah. We'll meet up with him again, but my battery just sort of died and I couldn't wrap up the points. So I'm gonna define the points we're gonna talk about. Sort of got cut off there, but I'm just gonna leave the visa issues right there, okay? To summarize, visas are just a lot more consistent, reliable to get here in Korea, and there's obviously gonna be visa grumbles no matter where you go in Asia. Like, there is not a single place where people aren't complaining. I think possibly the easiest place is Philippines, right?
Yes and no.
What's the negative side of Philippines? Because their retirement visa seems really good. If you're a vet, it seems really good.
They changed the retirement visa. It used to be 35 years old. But they got rid of it, you know, because a lot of, you know, young Chinese and Koreans work in the Philippines, and then sometimes what happens, it takes away a job from a Filipino.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, this is the same concept. Countries are raising the bar because other freaking expats are fucking us over. So what is the age requirement now?
I think it's moved up to 50.
Oh shit.
And then you need at least 20 to 30,000. I don't know the exact number yet anymore.
Oh, you just need 20-30,000 in your bank account or something,
yes,
right?
And then you can get the retirement. But as a tourist visa in the Philippines, you can keep extending after 59 days. But right now with COVID, I don't know what the new exchanges are, but it's 30-day visa free, and then you can extend for another 29 days, so they go at 59. So I usually get a 59-day visa in the Philippines, and you can extend all the way up to 3 years.
A tourist visa up to 3 years. Holy crap.
Yes, 2 months, 2 months, 6 months, 2 months, 6 months, 2 months. There's a crazy pattern.
I mean, that's fantastic. It's like pretty much the best setup I've heard. I did like rough research into this when I was doing a video with Tad. And it also seems like Indonesia and Malaysia have pretty decent ones too, although Indonesia has been raising the bar lately, specifically in Bali, just not as high as Thailand. But Thailand's getting to like pretty much unreachable highs, and by the time it's going to be relevant for you to retire and you're around my age, 30s, or even in your 40s, I imagine it's just gonna be, you're gonna have to be just as well off to retire in America as Thailand. It's like no longer like a low cost area. The numbers I hear being thrown around right now is minimum of $250,000, which it's not a low cost option anymore. You could do that in Korea, but at least in Korea the bar is getting lower each year because they're having issues with population. Whereas in Thailand, it seems like they don't have issues with population, so the bar keeps going up higher and higher. And the consistent rhetoric you see is that they want high value, rich tourists, because like after every Bangkok Post statement about the new schemes, the retirement schemes or whatever, you get this feeling because basically the government will then announce to the Thai public that they expect these measures will increase revenue or increase like a stream of high value tourists, and it's not going to take away revenue from Thailand or whatever. So it is always done in a point of serving Thailand in basically getting as much money out of the tourists, which more power to them. I have no issue with that because I mean that's how they survive, right? So moving forward, as far as Korea is concerned, to summarize, you got,
before we move forward, I'm gonna keep saying this disclaimer. You know, don't take everything we say for gospel. Check with your local consulate and embassy on the updated measures of each country.
Yeah, that's true. Because you might be watching this video in a year from now and things could have changed. But yeah, I mean, consistently I've been saying this, and I can sort of expect that unless like something horrible happens to their economy in the next year or two, I don't expect this to change. But like, to summarize, currently Korea has like the 90-day visa free, which you could just use to visa hop, which
as Americans,
as Americans, Canadians get 6 months, but but also all these measures are sort of temporarily on hold. That's another disclaimer because of COVID. So that's been working for us. If you want to get married or you're working here, etc., you do have a pathway to permanent residency and even citizenship, which isn't just like some concept that I've heard you could do like in other countries, but I've never seen anyone do. It's something that I consistently see people get, like permanent residency, citizenship, less often, but I've seen it done in Korea as like a foreigner from Germany or whatever.
No Filipino that has a Korean citizenship now.
You know a Filipino that has a Korean citizenship now?
When I asked the guy, he has an F6, and I go, wait, you're married to a Filipino? He goes, oh, she's a Korean citizen. That's why I have an F6 marriage spousal visa.
Oh wow. So she didn't get citizenship by marrying, she got it through other merits.
Well, she first did marry a Korean, and then got divorced, and then she did certain measures and got the Korean citizenship, but she had to dump her Philippines passport.
Oh, interesting. So Philippines doesn't let dual citizenship, or
Korea doesn't.
Korea doesn't let dual
It's
citizenship.
because of Korea.
Oh.
It's not because of
then what is this? Okay, anyways, this is a whole other discussion. We're going to a side discussion of dual citizenship. Okay, we're gonna have this again because we like it so much. Jeez.
Let's see.
안에서 먹을 수 있어요? 아니면 늦었어요? 호를 마감했어요? Okay, you gotta eat out here.
Yeah, we'll just pick it up.
Oh, we could even eat out here? Okay.
What do you want? We'll just take whatever.
I'll just have a cheese then.
Cheese? You want pepperoni?
No, I'll just have a cheese.
Okay. One pepperoni and one cheese.
Okay, so anyways, this concept of being and knowing and building upon like a solid foundation where you can expect to stay is a big factor for me. And you know, when we talk about visa issues, we're gonna sequester into like a bunch of other topics, so I want to cut it there. I talked about it more than I wanted to, and the main reason I feel sort of safe being in Korea that I'm not going to get kicked out is, believe it or not, freedom of speech. I think as Americans we take for granted freedom of speech because that is, I think, the one thing that I can't fault America for. We could talk about how freedom of speech is being more limited in America, but still relative to other countries, particularly Asia, freedom of speech is still alive and well relatively. You're not going to be sent to jail just for example like leaving a 3-star review, not even like a 1-star review, but a 3-star review, and saying, hey, you know, like a hotel is not as great as I thought it was gonna be, which is happening in, like, it's not a communist country, it's just straight up countries like Thailand, where it's not just like an isolated incident, but I just heard one situation happen in Canterbury, and I heard another one that happened in Koh Chang, and these are like the only times I've actually checked Thai news, so I don't know how many other times that this has happened, you know? I also, like, it's not just like some random threat. I've also had friends who have personally, like, been blogging in Pattaya, and they're walking through areas that have, like, massage areas that were rumored to offer more, and just simply by stating that they think that this is an area that offers more, they were hit up for slander and literally thrown in jail. He was in jail, shocked the heck out, just because he just stated what sort of he thought was common knowledge to everybody, and that was considered slander. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Now in Korea, you're not gonna have as many of these issues with slander, although to be completely honest, it's not like there's complete freedom of speech to do whatever the heck you want here.
And there's the little exceptions here. Like, you don't want to be like going on Facebook. So for example, English teachers, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to be naming the name of the academy on the Facebook.
Yeah.
Because that academy could come back to you and personally sue you. Now, the likelihood will they do it because it costs like $2,000 to get the attorney to come sue you.
Yeah.
Another thing is, as foreigners, because for locals, they got a lot more rights here. They protest is big here in Seoul. But as foreigners, you don't want to get caught out there in the parade, in the crowd. And especially if you're on an E2 visa or any, foreigner visa. So that's where some lines are drawn, but
I mean,
it's not like Thailand. I agree with you on those aspects.
And to be honest with you, those aspects are no different than America. Like, you don't want to personally reining businesses and talking shit on them. That's cause for slander too. Most likely you won't get prosecuted because it costs a lot of money. It's just like the legal system here is just like America. You're innocent until you're proven guilty. So I have actually personally never heard of anybody being thrown in jail, particularly for like political comments, because I see on the Facebook groups regularly foreigners just complaining about Korean government or whatever, and I think it's like they're even saying it in a pretty ignorant manner. But the cyber police ain't coming down on them, you know what I'm saying? Because it's just bad publicity. Being that Korea sort of prides itself in being the country with the most freedom of speech. For reference, the International Press Association, they have a ranking, don't take my word for it, of the countries that have the most freedom of speech. And Korea ranks definitely the highest in Asia. And I was surprised that countries like Thailand, which, I think is relatively still a lot of freedom of speech, and I'll say that in some aspects, I have more freedoms, not like freedom of speech, but sometimes more freedoms, like I can sort of drink my alcohol or whatever out in the middle of the street or beach and not worried about it. Which, by the way, I heard they're actually cracking down on lately. But I just sort of feel more free over there, So I'm not throwing complete shade at Thailand. I think it's still relatively free to America. But as far as freedom of speech and press rights, they rank really low. And surprisingly, I think Singapore ranked even lower than Thailand, if I'm not mistaken. Double check on that, but Singapore isn't way up there. I don't really know why. I'm not a Singaporean. You guys let me know.
Oh yeah, extra night. Kind of semi a midnight snack, but not quite.
Now, why am I saying that this is such a big issue with my stay in a country? Well, if you're gonna buy property, you're gonna establish yourself, you don't wanna always be looking out over your back and thinking, hey, what if I accidentally offend somebody, and I'm gonna be thrown in jail or be deported and lose everything I built. You know what I'm saying? That's just like a very shitty feeling to have constantly, and not a very solid foundation for you to build like a permanent base on. I'm not saying Thailand isn't great for vacationing or very long-term vacations, etc. It's a beautiful country, amazing, lovely people, but when the legal foundations there are so limiting, I think we have a bit of an issue if you're gonna try to build a long-term base. And even if it isn't an issue, this is just one more plus that makes me feel more secure building a future in Korea. I love this pizza. I also want to say the food in Korea is really good. I love the food in Korea. I think this is just a matter of preference, but what I can objectively say is, compared to many other Asian countries I've been to, the portions in Korea are fitting to my obese, overeating American habits. Would you agree?
Yeah.
I think Koreans are the only people that will eat more than an American. Yeah, this is our second lunch.
Yeah, it's like a late night dinner.
Yeah, I didn't see that kebab guy, by the way.
No, I didn't see him either. Well, I don't think we went by there. So.
We didn't go by that guy?
We didn't go by that street. I didn't see him there because we went another route. Remember? We got to cross that street.
Okay. Sorry, hold on. I was just taking a break. So moving on to my next factor. We need to move through this really fast. We're already at 16 minutes. briefly touch upon everything. The next reason would be medical. Now, medical isn't as big of an issue for me right now currently because I really have no medical issues. But if I'm looking about building a life, building a base out of the country for legal purposes or whatever, for retirement, I'm not ignorant to the fact that eventually I'm going to get old and medical is going to become the biggest issue for me if what literally every older expat tells me is true. King, what do you know about that? I mean, do you hear, like, is it just me, or what do you think it becomes like sort of your main issues when you become a retired expat?
It's always the medical, wherever you are.
Are you just saying that because I just said it, or what?
No, it's important because you have a medical issue that could like drain your whole, finances if you don't have that in place. Yeah,
exactly, right? I mean,
or just in general, you get into a motorcycle accident, like if you're in the Philippines, Thailand. Sometimes some of these, especially in the Philippines, even if they have laws where they can't make you stay at the hospital, they might just keep you in hospital like a jail till you pay all the pesos. Even if you can go to even if you tell them, I'm going to go to the ATM and go get the 20,000 pesos.
Yeah. That being said, I'm not to say medical in any of these countries are necessarily bad. I don't know about the Philippines, but I know, like, for example, Thailand, world-class medical facilities, and things are very affordable. Like, I was really happy when I was there with the treatment of care I had. The doctors are really great. They're professional. They're trained in America.
And I heard that's the job requirement since the other buddies I talked to from Thailand. That main hospital you talk about in Bangkok, all the doctors have some sort of education in doctoring in the United States.
Yeah, even if they come out of like Chula, they will go for a fellowship in like the top universities in America and get their fellowship and expertise in certain fields.
So you don't you have no language barrier. They all speak English.
And the costs are still cheaper, but I was happy about that until about 4 years ago. I wanted to get like a video of my intestines and stuff like that, because I hear colon cancer is like one of the leading cancers, and I just wanted a screening. And after all my research, full cash price, I found out Korea was going to be cheaper. So I came to Korea, I got that done, and that's the initial opening of my eyes to the Korean medical system. And as great as Thailand is, Korea was just even more affordable. And considering that they have universal healthcare available at local pricing, you don't get foreigner price, I was just like, what the heck? Sign me up for this, And now that I've been in Korea for 2 years and I've been using their medical system, not only that, I was talking to other expats and them telling me, like, it's just fantastic out here and how cheap and affordable it is. Even though I'm not really taking advantage of it as much as I could, medical, like, I just sort of want to safeguard myself from all these possible medical issues in the future by basing myself in a country where they have affordable universal medical care, So, for reference, all right, let's go.
After you.
No. Oh, okay, you open. Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. What a kind gentleman. Love this place. All right, you know what? Let's try to go somewhere new. Haebangchon.
I'm gonna go live so you can keep the vlog, and I'll go live with you.
Oh yeah. This is a good time to throw in a plug for King. On his Facebook, he'll still do videos about Korea. As I mentioned in my previous video, more knowledgeable about Korea than I am. He's been basing himself out of here, teaching English for a long time. Even now doing other odd ends and jobs. And he is much more integrated into the regular working expat community. Honestly, that's one thing I wish I could do more of. And hopefully you guys reach out to me and then you don't mind doing videos with me, because right now I'm doing so much of the tourism stuff. I end up having a lot of college friends, which is cool. It keeps me young and everything, but I can't give you other aspects of being an expat in Korea other than being a student or being married to a Korea. But yeah, he on his channel, you're gonna have these live streams of sporting events. Okay, so we're heading over to Haebangchon right now, and then we'll circle around and go to the main areas of Itaewon, which I have in my other vlog. But anyways, as far as the medical costs, let me give you an example of how affordable medical costs could be. So each month, the premium for medical, if you were to pay out of pocket for a foreigner, is about $100. And $100 might seem like it is on the high end, but it is truly no pre-existing conditions. As a matter of fact, they had to change the laws around this because you had a lot of ethnic Koreans that are Chinese nationals who were basically living in China, and like they could be just like living there for most of their life and be Chinese, but just because they had permanent residency as a result of their ethnicity in Korea, if they get like cancer or something serious, they would come and like sign up again and then get coverage to get all their serious ailments treated. So now recently they changed the law, so you have to have at least 6 months residency in Korea before you could sign up again for this universal healthcare system. And the reason why it's so affordable is, unlike America, even if you have insurance, if I wanted to like get even just a cyst removal, it's gonna cost me $50 in seeing my primary healthcare physician, then paying another $50 to see a dermatologist, and then getting referred to do a procedure, and then paying maybe $300, $400, and then paying another like $600-700 for a lab on that biopsy. If that was to happen in Korea, you're looking at all of that costing, like, I kid you not, maybe less than $50. For example, I've only had minor issues sort of. So let's say I just want to go see even a traditional Eastern medicine doctor because I get coverage for that. I could say, oh, my back sort of hurts, so I want to go to a traditional medicine and get a nice herbal massage, get treated for about an hour. I could leave and pay, like, what I pay is around $2 in copay for an hour's treatment. And you're thinking, oh, it's because it's not a specialist, not a Western special. Well, for example, like I go to a dermatologist once because I had a rash, and I picked like the fanciest dermatologist. I could self-refer, by the way, which is amazing. I don't have to like go through all the BS paperwork and how American healthcare systems are. I could self-refer, go to a dermatologist, and I was talking to the doctor for about 10-15 minutes, describing my symptoms, all in English, by the way. And he prescribed me some drugs, which cured me. The copay for me was 4,000 won, which is about like $3.50. Like, that's what you're looking at. And then like for serious situations, for example, my father's friend was hiking, and he just felt something in his heart, like it was sort of hurting, and he went directly to the hospital, and they were doing an examination, and on the examination table they realized that his heart valve was almost closed and he was about to go into a heart attack. So they did like a bypass surgery or something, like the thing where you stick a tube and then like open up your blood vessel. And then he got really lucky because they found it early and stopped him from going into cardiac arrest. Is that what you call a heart attack? Anyways, did that, and then they did outpatient, inpatient, treated him for like a couple months on physical therapy, and his total bill came out to be around $80. That was his copay. I mean, we're just like, so for all intents and purposes, it's almost pretty much free. I don't know what situations it's gonna cost a lot more. I mean, I have heard some people balk at prices because they had to get like some neurosurgery procedure done, and then like get treated for months, and then they're like, oh, the whole hospital bill was like a couple $1,000s. It was so expensive. Like, Koreans will talk about this, like, we can't afford it, so it's a couple $1,000s. And I'm like, what the heck, man? Like, if I was in America and I broke a leg and I just wanted that fracture like done through insurance, it's still gonna cost, like, I paid like $2,000 to get my dog's fractured bones fixed and treated for a vet for my dog. And people are having neurosurgery and all their procedures done for a few $1,000s, and they're complaining that it's expensive. And I'm like, I was just sort of blown away, just the expectation and like the standards of how affordable healthcare could be here. So to summarize, don't take my word for it. Do your research. Coming from a guy that hasn't had too many heart issues or any of the serious complications, but at least for the stuff that I've dealt with, the issues I have, I can sort of compare. Actually, I can't compare because there is no universal healthcare available for foreigners in Thailand. But for my situation, I very, very much appreciate this. It's the law here in Korea if you work to provide what they call for insurance coverage, and that includes basically, it's like the same thing as America. Healthcare, that's the main, and then they have disability. They also have what's that? It's like retirement. So they actually add to your retirement funds, so you actually get a pension like Social Security in Korea, but basically you have all the same coverage, like unemployment coverage and stuff like this. So you're looking at like this is pretty bright. Hey, King, quick question. You know 사대보험, the for insurance? What is that? That's health insurance, that is retirement, unemployment, and long-term care, was it?
Yeah, or it might be unemployment. Because I know I had unemployment insurance 1 year.
Oh yeah? You got it from Korea? You actually used it? Oh,
no,
nice.
I didn't get to use it.
You didn't get to use it, okay.
As a full-time employee.
Huh.
Yeah. But
yeah, they pay for all that.
Yeah. It's different meanings compared to what we have in the States.
Yeah, I don't know too much of the details on it. But I did see that my retirement account has a couple $1,000s in it. I'm like, oh, okay, well that's great. Yeah. And they're like, like as a foreigner, I hear we can cash it out when we're leaving.
Yeah.
Or if we keep paying into it, it's a pension, and they were saying at this rate you're gonna get about $500 a month. Yeah. When I come to retirement age, so I'm like, well, that's better than nothing, you know. Yeah. So I'll get like double Social Security plus Korean pension here. I was like, oh. Anyways, yeah, you don't, like, none of these benefits I know of happen in Southeast Asia, you know, like that's why it's just so great to base yourself out here, because you can arbitrage all the positives of everything, like legally, financially basing yourself out of Korea. Oh, look at this. Today is a very slow day.
Yeah, when we were here 4 months ago, Ethan, we had no space to walk.
Yeah, literally.
We were bumping into people were in our way. And as you can see, look how quiet it is here on HBC.
Yeah.
Let's head back.
I mean, all these stores are sort of open on the side, but I get it. It's sort of cold right now. I'm holding on to these hot packs right here. Anyways, those are basically the main reasons. Healthcare, the main reason if I was older, and having that freedom of speech, a more reliable visa where they actually have advocacy groups for foreigners that speak up for foreigners here, and they consistently try to eliminate any kind of racist policies that discriminate against foreigners in their visas or exploitation, etc. Like, this is what makes me feel a bit more confident about basing myself out of Korea. And now let's just talk about some of the overall benefits as well, sort of the intangibles other than these main financial benefits that I've gone over, which are more analytical. And it's honestly, I think, a lot to do with the people of Korea. I would say, just like the landscape, just like the weather, it's a little rough around the edges. They're a little rough around the edges, I'll give them that. Because it's not like I haven't originally tried to stay in Korea in the beginning, right out of America. And the perception that I had coming in, the biases that I had coming in, was that they're just ultra like high pressure, high work environment, so it's not a very pleasant place to live. So I would always see it with this bias. And I guess culturally Korea is, and Koreans are very similar to Americans. I can't speak for other Westerners because as Americans we have our own specific set of culture, but I would say we're very similar to Koreans culturally. So when I went to Thailand, it was sort of refreshing to have a chill, sort of like I don't care kind of vibe, and I think it's been good for me. But after I've been there for a while, there's certain aspects of American culture that I appreciate, and Korea sort of hits a fine balance in between, you know what I'm saying? It's sort of cool when you're just trying to relax and you're just having a vacation mode, for people to just sort of not give a crap and just go, oh, it's alright, it's whatever. Like you hear this a lot in Thailand, same, you know? This is like something you'll hear a lot, same, it's the same, don't worry about it. But that same can eventually become really infuriating because as an American, we are very particular. What the heck do you mean this is same? This is not the same. I booked a VIP bus. Why am I in this crappy ass bus, you know, that I didn't pay for? I ordered this with these specific requirements. No MSG, no this. It's not the same. So I've had situations like this where it just exceeded my expectations of how uncaring they could be about the details. Whereas in Korea, this you will never ever hear same. It is like the biggest crime to say same here in Korea, because nothing is the same. Everything is being fine-tuned and refined. Koreans are all about efficiency, doing things in a way that it makes it more efficient, more profitable, more convenient. So you will hear a lot of angry people complaining if things are not going according to logic. If people are just sitting around effing about on their phones and whatnot when there's clients or customers to be seen, they're not even gonna have an opportunity to say same to you, because some angry Korean ajashi or ajumma is gonna chew the crap out of them and make sure they start helping you. Ooh, look at this.
Okay, so we've got some traffic finally.
Yeah. But that's not to say that they aren't understanding people. As an American, I've come to realize that I'm really loud, and I'm one of the I'm like the loudest of the Americans. So to a Korean, I'm very loud. This is something I try to work on sometimes in my personal life. Admittedly, I don't really try it when I'm vlogging because it helps me project my voice and you guys can hear what I'm saying, etc. Which is a sort of a requirement for a YouTuber. But even though like things like this I don't mesh with the Korean culture too well, I haven't really heard too many negative things said to me. They're relatively understanding. If I don't get something about the culture, they sort of relatively give me a free pass as a foreigner, and they understand like there are certain aspects of my culture that are different from theirs. And not only do they like just sort of give me a free pass, like sometimes you get a free pass, but then they're just like looking at you like you're uneducated. But should we go across now?
Yeah, let's go across right here.
Oh, okay.
Ethan.
My glasses are fogging up, so I took off my glasses.
So there we go. We're going across for 15 seconds.
Yeah.
So as you can see, we're not playing around. We are in Korea. Hello.
Yeah, all right.
My car.
Live stream in.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I really like how efficient Koreans are, how understanding Koreans are, and then
see your face.
Oh yeah. Hello. I'm all messed up.
Glasses are fine.
And then lastly, I will say how generous Koreans are. Given, actually, I think Thai people are really generous. It's really hard to compare and say who's more generous, Thais or Koreans. I think, yeah, I can't really say. but it's good to know that Koreans are also generous. I mean, one thing that they're quite generous about particularly are giving foreigners an opportunity to experience all the beauties of Korea, all the fun activities here at a discount. I mean, I sort of feel like it's a bit of reverse racism where my Korean cousins will, ooh, that looks nice. It's like I can't see too well. I really don't know where I'm shooting. I just know roughly in what direction. Yeah, but to summarize, there is no country where I have been paid money to make vlogs. But when I'm going on these trips, right, sometimes they pay me a decent amount of money to go and experience something and make a vlog about it, and they give me some pocket change because they're like, hey, you did a good job, or encourage me to do a good job, or whatever. But when I'm on these trips, I also sometimes go on some trips where people that come with me aren't influencers. They're just regular people, and on half of these trips I just meet up regular students or whatever without any kind of requirement to post Instagram, anything. They just are on a free trip because the Korean tourism organizations, they work really hard with each of these cities to really show off the beauties of Korea and especially make it available to underprivileged people. So particularly like students or groups and organizations that may not have the means to travel here. So that really goes a long way to show the generosity of the Korean people. But even just not on a non-governmental level, just like in Thailand, I can't tell you how many times I've experienced and described all the different interactions with Korean people that on a personal level I feel their generosity. Just anything from if I'm lost and I need help finding a direction, everyone from like a local citizen going out of their busy way to walk me to where I need to go, to even like police officers dropping everything to escort me when they themselves can't really even speak Korean that well. I could see they're really trying to understand me and help me instead of just like shooing me away and like, oh, you're just a bother. No, none of that ever happens. Like, everyone generally cares about you here, and it's sort of a country where, you know, just like in Thailand, I mean, like I expect this in Thailand too because they're so generous over there. You aren't ever gonna die of starvation. Like, it doesn't matter if you're stuck out in the middle of nowhere, the most rural area with people that, you know, don't have the most. But if you're hungry and you need help, there's gonna be somebody that's gonna be ready to help you out. That's just sort of what I expect from the Korean people. So overall, to summarize, guys, sorry, you see my glasses are totally fogged. I can't see anything. I'm gonna take it off and just follow the silhouette of King in front of me. Sum it up, I can't remember what I talked about in the beginning. Talked about so much, but we talked about some of the main reasons. Convenience, right? Safety, as far as transportation, personal safety, safety of belonging, and then sort of going from that safety theme to knowing it's a solid visa foundation, and a solid foundation sort of legally because of the freedom of speech and less of the danger of being thrown in jail for possibly offending someone. And then wrapping up with, dude, where are we going? Oh my gosh. And then to wrapping up with what I think will be the most important issue in the future, such as healthcare, the generosity of the people, as well as the efficiency, as well as, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting everything. I'm so tired. I don't know. Go back on the video and figure it out. I think it was kindness, but that's generosity. Oh, I'm sorry. I gotta think of it. There's just so much to Korea that I find appealing for someone who wants to base themselves long term out of here. This isn't the only reasons. These are the main reasons. There's other obvious reasons I like mention in every video. Super low cost of living, which I'll mention because people are gonna assume that it's expensive because they keep assuming everything's expensive here. And both me and King will confirm that we spend actually less living in Korea than even in Thailand, as well as more of a subjective thing, but fun activity, things to do, just pure preference of what you may think is unique and fun and interesting. But these kinds of things I could touch up on in another video, or you could see it through my videos. So hope you guys liked that summary of why I like Korea, why King likes Korea. You want to add anything else to that? Why you think Korea is good? The other things I mentioned on top of that is, I already told you what I was going to talk about, right?
Yeah.
Healthcare, people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we covered this, but just extreme, the feeling of safety I have. I always have that feeling when I'm out and about.
Yeah.
Like right now, you see we're in the dark, even with nobody here. There is
even without being able to see more than 2 meters ahead.
No one's there to trying to hit us or steal anything from us.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't do this in Bangkok. I'll probably get hit by a car or a stray motorcycle. But anyways,
I was adding to the stream and you guys were part of it.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, the Facebook Live is part of this, your blog right now.
Oh, is it? Oh, great, yeah.
Hey, can you plug in your channel, Ethan?
Oh yeah, check out Live Travel Asia.
Yeah, there you go.
Living and traveling in Asia.
Yeah.
Alright, okay. Symbiotically putting plugs. Yeah, ultimately, those are the main reasons, guys. It's not to say I don't want to travel to other countries, because if I had it my way, I would spend more time outside of Korea than in Korea, because I think the ultimate negative to any country is that it eventually all gets familiar. And although I don't mind getting familiar with Korea, it's just my personal preference that I'm always challenging myself and finding new experiences for you guys. So that's going to be true with any country that I stay long term. But this was sort of more for my viewers who constantly just ask me like what I think about basing myself out of a certain country, like long term, etc. And for some reason people take my why I live in Bangkok, Thailand video as to that's the reason why I want to retire in Bangkok, Thailand, which isn't the case. I don't really, I really never thought of retiring in Bangkok, Thailand. But I think they're assuming that because there's a lot of people who do retire in Bangkok, Thailand. I'm not saying it's a bad place to retire, but for someone like my age, I could clearly see that there is a trend towards unaffordability and more legal loops and hurdles for the visa requirements coming forward in the next 20 years or so, when already in the last 5, 6, 7 years I've been there, these hurdles have become just so great. You've had a lot of expats leave in droves. So that is why, if you are not agreeing with me as far as living a lifestyle of adventure and travel, and you want a place to base yourself out of, I'm just saying give Korea a consideration. It's a great base to have yourself based out of. And transportation, like King mentioned, is fantastic because it is a transportation hub. Whatever the case, hope you guys have a fantastic day. Let me know in the comments below what you prefer, more of this walking style video that I've been doing, or the video I did in Namsan Tower where I just shot more stable shots, more cinematic sort of stable shots. But I'll sort of wrap up with this area, the main area of Itaewon. Oh wow, yeah, it's as dead as I thought. It's just as dead as yesterday. Man, hope I could be doing this in like the Philippines and India, Taiwan, some other countries next year, this season. Because let's live travel Asia, guys. Bye bye.